Both buying and building a direct sales E-mountain bike is super easy. It arrives on your doorstep, the tools, the technical know-how is all included. You really do not need to be a mechanical whiz. YT say all their bikes are pre-assembled and all it takes is a few steps before you're out on the trail. They say all you need to do is bolt in the front wheel, attach the handlebars, adjust the suspension, and you're good to go. Oh, that'll be the door. Well, I have to say I was expecting something a little bit bigger, but apparently this is how it works. The tools come before the bike does. And as you can see, you've got the manuals, the tools, the technical element. And I guess it's good to familiarize yourself with the detail of the bike before it arrives. Wow, can't wait for this bike to arrive. I mean, the tools have already. So the bike I've got coming is a YT Decoy Pro 29 in extra large and ghost chip green. And you know what? Over breakfast, I think I've realized that I've underestimated this toolkit. I mean, it's got a torque wrench with 5 fittings. All I need now is the bike. Oh, and the manual. Oh, that'll be the door. Wow, can you believe it? Inside this box is one of these. And all I need to do now is bring this bike to life. So the first steps is undo counterclockwise these little nuggets here. Right, are you ready? Are you actually ready? Boom! First of all, top box off. Secondary is the wheels out. Oh my goodness, that's so easy. Bike out, onto the stand. Don't forget to keep the stand because that's going to be essential. Oh, look at that. There she is, Decoy 29. As you can see here, the wheel covers have got an outer side and an inner side, and that's even more reason to keep the package in, because this box is actually a great way to transport your e-mountain bike when you go on holiday to hotter climate. So yeah, there you go, keep that safe. Tires, ooh, bit of air in them already. Righty, time to get this bike built. So you can spend a couple of £100 on a bike stand. I prefer to use the box it came with, sheet ply on the top, stabilize it. Now don't forget manual that came a couple of days ago. Good time to consult it. Read first, then unpack. Next job, handlebars, page 8. Got my 5 tools back in the picture and my snips, which came from some cheap shop in town. So I'm going to start off by just snipping off the packaging in the handlebar area. Be really careful when you're unwrapping, because when you undo the handlebar, there are some cables which are connected to the mode switch, and cutting through that is probably the last thing you want to do. Now my particular Decoy's got an E13 stem on it, so I'm going to pick out the T25 head, which goes in the torque wrench. I'm going to start taking the bolts out. So I got the top caps of the stem, grab the handlebar, slot it in, and then you tighten up. The E13 stem is actually the top bolts first, but if you have a look at your manual, then it will show what sequence you do it on with your particular stem. Now the nuts and bolts on the YT Decoy need to be torqued up, and the torque wrench settings are located on the back of the handle, and you can adjust that to 0 by simply twisting the shaft to the 0 position. It's the top bolts first, and make sure you tighten those on until there is no gap in this top part here. So that's a close that's fully clamped up there. And then what you do then is you simply tighten up the lower, and you make sure that each clamp is parallel to each other. The handlebar clamp on the Decoy should be set between 5 and 7 Newton meters. So you turn it, and then as you can see, if you get quite tight, the number rises and you go whoa, up to 5, and then you stop it. And then you do it again, 5, and then the low ones, 5, boom, easy. So as you can see, I've just taken the packaging off the swinging arm area, and I'm about to bolt on the derailleur, which point it might be worth pointing out why I went for the 29-inch wheel bike, because the Decoy actually comes in 4 different models. 2 models with 29-inch front wheel, 27.5 rear, with 170 front and 165mm rear, and then the 29-inch versions, slightly less travel, 150mm front and 145mm on the rear. Now, all the models come with a Shimano E8000 motor and a 540 watt-hour battery, so a good range from this bike. Now, in terms of what these bikes can do, probably the 29 is more suited to kind of adventure riding, more like trail all-mounted enduro, whereas the 29 27.5 bike, a little bit more bigger hitting, as I say, a lot more travel, so maybe leaning a bit more towards the downhill and free ride style of mountain biking. But still, both bikes, I can assure you, will be equally capable of climbing monster hills. Anyway, back to my derailleur. So this time I've now got the 5mm Allen key, which is located in the handle. Now you need to be really careful when you pop this on, but it is pretty simple. You move the derailleur rearwards and then locate it, and now this is already greased, but the most important thing you need to do here is make sure the tab on the back of the hanger actually locates into the tab which is on the frame. So it can be a little bit of a fiddle, so take your time on it, don't get it cross-threaded because that's a disaster. Actually, while I think about it, might be worth you ordering a spare derailleur hanger when you order the bike, because derailleurs do tend to get knocked off. And there you go, it's as simple as that really. And torque it up to the setting in the manual, which you've not forgotten about, of course. Right, boom, next up is the rear wheel. Now I'm actually going to move my bike slightly backwards. Look at that there, Dottie will be very impressed. So it's resting on the skid plate, so I've got room to slot the wheel in. So all I'm doing is undoing the axle anti-clockwise. Boom. Now clutch to the off position, move the derailleur rearwards, and all you do, slot the rear wheel in, because there are guides for the rear wheel to go in, and then in with the axle, tighten it up, torque between 10 and 15 Newton meters first, then pull it out, line it up with your chainstay or with your seat stay, and then move the clutch to the on position, which means there's tension in that derailleur to stop the chain from rattling. Oh, time I think to slow this whole operation down a touch. I mean, it's taken what? All of 2 minutes so far. It's not Formula 1 pit stop we're talking here. What should we talk about? About sizing. Now, I'm a size extra large. I could ride a size large. Now, if you look at the YT website, it gives you a really accurate idea of what size bike to buy. Now, I'd actually recommend, if you're in between sizes, to go for the larger size, because you can adjust the fit of your bike by having such things as a short stem or a narrow handlebar, or indeed just putting the seat forwards. I mean, it's not rocket science. So just take it easy. Enjoy building your bike. Boom, time to get back on the tools. Cut off the wrapping. Out with the axle, anti-clockwise. Boom, packaging out. Now at this point, don't forget to take the brake spacer out and keep it really safe for when you travel with your e-mountain bike. Pop the wheel in, slot the axle in, comes in from the non-drive side for Fox and the drive side for RockShox. Why? I've got no idea. Tighten it all up clockwise. Now hopefully, oh look at that, the axle is actually adjusted so that it lines up with the fork leg. That's great detail, I love that. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed that we do have a couple of jobs remaining, such as attaching the brake. Now, is it the front brake or is it the rear brake? Well, that depends on your preference. Now, the guys at YT have sent me the bike with the front brake on the right hand side. So all I need to do now is get my T25 back out. Now, all you do is get that underneath the mode adjust button, tighten it up. This bike is coming to life by the second. Don't forget to put it in the position you want. I like to have mine with the finger just on the outside. Torque it up. Torque's in the manual, which is close by your side. Boom. And one more thing, and that is the motor lead. And that goes in the slot. There's only one more slot on the display in there. Click it in she goes. I think we're getting close. And I guess we can stick the pedals on. Now you can actually include crank brothers pedals with your order. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, other pedal. Pedals on, check, which leaves one more tool. The shock pump. Now some people say suspension is a dark art. I say, well, I won't say what I'll say, but this is actually as I set up suspension. Now I've been riding and testing mountain bikes for, I don't know, 25 years. So what I do is simply get on the bike, put the back, get that little rubber ring so that so you sit on the seat, go like that. As you can see, it's about 35 to 40% there of the shaft length. Get on the bike, same for the front end. There you go. You can see a bit of a dust line there, about, well, I don't know, it's probably about 30%. So I think I just need a little bit of air. Engage the chamber. I'm 94 kilos. I've got 100 PSI in there. I'm just going to pump it up to 105. You can use that as a guide. Now, RockShox and Fox have got really good guides on their website, which will actually help you do this. Cap back on. We've got 200 PSI, so I'm going to take that up to 220. Bounce on it again. There you go, closer to 30% now. Great on the back and on the front. So you might need to go around the car park. There you go, about 25 to 30. What about the rebound and compression? Stick it in the middle, worry about that later. We need to get this thing charged out of here. So the Decoy has come to life in a short space of time. It's now ready to be shipped down to Doddy for some tech and some fine detail on it. But it's fully charged, so I reckon I got a bit of time for a sneaky ride around the woods. And that's it from me. However, as I mentioned, if you want to take your Decoy to the next level, be sure to check out Doddy's video, which covers some really fine detail and setup. And I even let him take it for a spin. Let us know if you have any questions. If you've lost a manual, remember it's available online. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks very much and see you soon.